Today on the Indie Wave podcast, I get a chance to sit down with the lady behind the Glacer FM's best hip-hop song of 2022, Rock With You by August Rayne. We'll chat with the Arkansas native about her meteoric rise to stardom and how she's keeping it real for her fans back home while she heats up the night down in the Florida club scene. That's coming up today on the Indie Wave podcast.
I put myself in position to get mistreated.
The Indie Wave podcast with That Sailing Guy. That Sailing Guy, also known as Christopher German. In partnership with Glacer FM and broadcasting from the birthplace of grunge, Aberdeen, Washington. Welcome to the Indie Wave podcast. Welcome to the Indie Wave podcast. I'm your host, That Sailing Guy. And while I have sailed many a mile at sea, I have never had a chance to interview so many wonderful people. We're just 5 episodes into this season, and I have visited with folks in the Northeast, Florida, the UK, and now this week we head back down to Florida to chat with the very lovely, the very talented, and the very auspiciously named August Rayne to talk about her experiences exploring the world of the indie music scene. Now, I'm not saying all of our guests are older, but I will say, like me, we all share a certain amount of world experience that has caused at least a few gray hairs and 1 or 2 laugh lines. They also, like me, share a Gen X sense of this whole indie wave thing because they were around when tapes were the medium of choice, and the very idea that there would be a free video channel where you could upload your own clips and share your talents with a world audience, all from the comfort of your home, was nothing but a fanciful notion on the Jetsons. Today, we have YouTube, Spotify, Google, Facebook, Web 3.0, the metaverse, NFTs, and who knows what's next for the young and old alike to create amazing content and share their visions with the world. But it's not every day that a dinosaur like me gets the chance to sit down and chat with the likes of a young lady like August Rayne to get her perspective on how this indie wave is playing out for the next generation. Ms. Rayne is a mixture of grace and beauty, soul and sensibility. Her sultry tonality beckons back to the days of Ms. Aretha Franklin, and a modern mix of bass and treble to make you want to sway the night away. Her appeal is multi-generational, and that is why I was so excited to chat with August for a short time this week. She was gracious enough to join me and talk about her win for the best hip-hop song of 2022 on Glacer FM for her hit Rock With You, and her new hit ILY that is currently running in the 15th spot for the Glacer FM Top 50. So, without further ado, here is August Rayne, hitmaker for the 2022 Rock With You, followed up by a short interview I shot with her to hear about all her adventure as her star rises to the top.
Hey, which one is she? You don't know. Any plans tonight? No. Ooh, I can get it. I wasn't. Girl, guess what is taking me to food? David. No, you know I can rock David like that. You don't gotta be around him all night. It's fine. You know I like him. And we need to do something. I'm tired of sitting in the house. Oh my gosh, you only want to go because y'all lagoons gonna be there. Maybe. See, I'm getting there. You know you want to see me. I ain't trying to hear that. I'm gonna let him know we're gonna be on the way. Oh my gosh, fine. All right, we can go.
Yeah. It's your girl, August Rayne. Sun is out, hair is out. Telling the bar girl to send another round, cause I'm feeling it. Body moving with the music. I see you around in the crowd, taking glasses at me, smiling that pretty smile. And you walking this way now.
very lovely, the very wonderful, the very amazing, the very talented. How many more adjectives can I stick on this one particular sentence than just to call her August Rayne? With a name like that, you have to expect greatness. And if you listen to her new hit single, Rock With You, which is the Glacer FM R&B Song of the Year, wow, this is just awesome. So I'm perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Well, let's start this on the proper note. You're doing some amazing things. I was just checking out your Spotify. I was also on your YouTube channel. You are now officially subscribed to by That Sailing Guy online. But tell me, I mean, you're getting a lot of plays. You've got at least a couple dozen followers on Spotify. You got a few thousand downloads of streaming of your songs. You're the artist. You seem to be riding high. How are you taking all that?
I'm taking it all in. I don't think I really get caught up because I can always see improvement, so I just take it and okay, next thing, it's hard for me to, what's the word? I'm not easily impressed either. So it's like, I'm hard on myself, but it's just because I know I can be better. So I'm just on to the next thing. I'm ready to get more music out.
Well, you're putting a ton of stuff out there right now, and I think if anybody's got any interest in listening to some really hot R&B, which is just, it's really fresh sounding, it's really really good sounding, and you're putting some wonderful stuff out there. Tell me, how'd you get into Glacer FM? I mean, you've been with them a while now, at least a couple years, and you're getting some great feed. I featured you on my you were the artist of the week when I did the Crypto Nightly News. And here I have you now on my show, and I get to talk to you personally. So I'm tickled about that too. So tell me, I mean, how did you get involved with Glacer FM?
Yeah, so Glacer FM, Ashley, who is the CEO of Talented 10, the label, she connected with them last year when I was dropping my other single called "Stay With Me" and Messed Up. That was like a 2 songs I had dropped last year. She connected with them there, and I won an award with them as well last year. So that was pretty dope. I was nominated for like 2, and I won one of them, and that was the first one. So we were all very, very excited, and we've just been, Glacer FM is awesome. They just love us, and I love them so much. So they've just been supporting ever since. So that's how we got connected. I did an interview with them as well, and we've just been connected ever since then.
So where are you going with all this? What is your strategy? What is your plan? I mean, if there's some advice that you could give to a young and hopeful woman that is expecting to do what you are doing right now, what advice would you give her?
What advice would I give to someone who's trying to break into this? Be yourself is something that I always feel like is very important, just because nobody can be you, like you can be yourself. And individuality is so important. I feel like there's a lot of the same things that we're seeing. And I feel like everybody's like craving for something new and something different. So don't be afraid to be different. You don't always have to go with, what's trending just to, I don't know, just to fit in or whatever. Just be yourself. Individuality is so important. And then, like I say all the time, stick to your faith and morals. Don't let this industry try to make you someone who you're not. Yeah, that's what I would say. And work hard. Working hard is very, very important. And don't stop chasing it. Just keep going.
Well, tell me a little bit about where you get those morals from. Where did you get your start? How'd you get into this kind of work? And are you doing it full time right now, or is this just kind of a nighttime thing for you, or how's it all going?
This is definitely the goal. This is the end all be all. This is definitely what I want to do for the rest of my life. I started up in church. I grew up in church. I'm a church girl from Little Rock, Arkansas. So I started singing I've been singing all my life, honestly. Just singing in the children's church choir, growing up in my papa's church and in my uncle's church. So I started there, and everyone in my family is like gifted. They all can sing, play an instrument or something like that. And so I've been around music my whole life, so it's not new to me. I just started doing this as a career when I was 19, I want to say. I was working with another dope producer in Little Rock, Arkansas. His name is Pat. Shout out to Pat. And that's when I started music. Then I moved to Florida, which is where I reside now. Teamed up with Ashley, and a dope producer named Ronaldo, and we have all been a part of Talented 10 since. And yeah, that's how I became in this industry, I guess you could say. That's how I got in. Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, what was it like growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas, and what kind of challenges have you had trying to get into the indie business? I mean, it's obvious that you're really talented. It's obvious that you're really doing some amazing work here, and it's obvious that the people are getting into it. But it couldn't have been an easy ride the entire way.
Yeah, definitely not. Little Rock is my hometown. I love Little Rock so much. So I grew up, obviously, spent most of my time there. I've only been in Orlando 3 years, so I love Little Rock. And me growing up there taught me a lot, learned a lot. But I just knew life was so much bigger than that city. It's a small city. I feel like a lot of people there have a crabs in a barrel mentality. It's a lot of talented people there though, as well though. And I feel like popularity is more so looked at than talent. So I feel like that's something that I struggle with. But and another thing I do have to keep in mind too is that when I was starting music is when I was actually leaving Arkansas. So I really started like doing music and going out when I got to Orlando. But that's where I get my roots from though, from Little Rock, because of how I grew up in a church and, you know, just the soulfulness I have and the Southern mentality, and that's because that's where I grew up. And it'll always be home, but yeah, just because I feel like people look at popularity more than talent. And I'm not necessarily, and I'm not popular, so it's that's the part that I'm having to navigate, you know, figure it out. But you know, we're gonna get it.
Well, how are you reaching your fans? How are you going out and playing shows? Are you, what is the best way that you can touch base with your fans?
Yeah, so I do some shows. I haven't done any this year yet, but that's just because I'm gearing up for some music that I cannot wait for everybody to hear, and another award show that I'll be performing at here in May. So, but yeah, I do some shows. I did some in the summer. I'm really everywhere. Someone will have me for a show, so I could be anywhere. I was in Vegas and Atlanta, of course, here in Florida. I do a lot of open mics too here in Florida, just as practice, and I like open mics. They're really fun. So yeah.
Is that a way that you can really reach to get some new ears on your work and to reach out to new people, is when you go out into the community and you do those open mic nights?
Definitely. And I feel like in Orlando, at least the community that I've come to know, that's something that they take pride in, is the open mics, like on Thursday, and there's some on Sunday, but people come out, have a good time, you know, have some drinks or whatever, but they come for the music or the poetry or the comedy. It's all kind of different stuff. And I didn't get to witness that where I'm from just because of my age. I wasn't of age to be, you know, going out. So, but to witness that and to see it, it's like, wow, it's really, really dope. Just to see all these different artists come out and showcase their talent. That's really where I was able to connect with a lot of different people that I know now and have good relationships with, from clothing brands to other artists, creatives, photographers, videographers. It's awesome. I really like open mics, but that's where you can find me. Yeah.
Is that also a networking thing? I mean, do you do a lot of networking at these events?
Yes, I do. Yeah, that's how I met a lot of people that I know now, like Lives Over Money, shout out to Brandon, and then some other photographers and videographers as well. I've connected with, developed relationships with. That's honestly, I feel like if you're new starting out, hit up some open mics. You'll find so many people just to collab with, give you tips. I met some producers. Like it's really a great way to get to feel around in, you know, in the industry.
Well, you know, and that's kind of the purpose of this podcast is there's this middle world of the music industry right now, which is just not getting the mainstream media's attention. It's not getting record people's attention. But the fact of the matter is I think there's a lot of talent there, and you're one of those. You're certainly one of those talented people that I'm very, very happy to have on the show here. So, but that's also, I think, one of the things that, you know, we're reaching out to a bunch of people that have aspirations. We're coming up on the creator economy right now. And all kinds of good people are going to be putting art and music and theater and all these wonderful things out there. How does it feel to really be part of that first wave of attack in this creator economy?
It feels great. I feel like also if you let it, it can be kind of a weight of a sense because you hold a certain responsibility. And I want my music to be purposeful. I want it to hold meaning, and always the times were always about like purpose, and then also like with music to tell a story. And so, but I feel like it's really cool to be, you know, a part of that new wave coming in to bring this music out and something different too. I feel like music is changing, is going in a different direction, and just to be in front of that wave, you know, to create that movement, I feel like is really, really dope. And I honestly just can't wait for people to hear like what I have, because it's different. It's not what I usually, or what you usually hear.
Well, we introduced you with "Rock with You," which is your hit single, which won the Glacer FM R&B Award of the Year. Very congratulations on that. But when we leave here, I think I'm going to go with "Selfish" because I really like that. Tell me a little bit about the story behind "Selfish" and where you came up with that idea.
So actually, this song is the oldest song I have, and that's when I was back in Little Rock. I was working with this producer I mentioned. His name is Pat. Really, really dope. He's the first producer who actually worked with me. We did a lot of music together, but this song we released. When did we release it? It was a while ago. I was about 19 years old, but this was really about like self-love, and you know, learning that sometimes it's okay to be selfish in certain aspects, you know, especially when you feel like you've been overlooked, or you feel like when it comes to you, there's nobody there, or whatever the case. So he definitely did his thing, producing that whole record, and it's a dope record. Yes, but that's how that really came about. We were working all summer on a lot of songs, and that's one of the ones that came about.
Well, without further ado, let me play that song, "Selfish" by August Rayne. And let me thank you for being here today. August, you're as lovely as you are talented. Thank you so much for joining us on the Indie Wave podcast. And make sure you tell all your fans and friends to share this podcast. We're going to make you famous. We're going to do our best to get this word out here about what you're doing. And I just thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much, for real. Thank you.
My pleasure. And without further ado, this is "Selfish" by August Rayne.
It's my time to be selfish, and I don't need to feel no guilt from you. After all that I've dealt with, it's a loud silence in this room. Hold up, hush, I don't wanna hear no words from you. You've done enough talking for us two. It's about me now, boy, I'm through. It amazes me that you wanna go so far till the times get hard, boy, you ain't playing me. Got all the answers now when you get so smart. Those words ain't fazing me. And to think you're blaming me, I'm sending a message, some call it reckless in case you're checking. You can find me somewhere being selfish, selfish. Make no apologies for choosing me. You can find me somewhere being selfish, selfish. I'm in a better place, cause I found a better way. When it came to me, who really cared? I would've gave my last, I was always there. Rooted for you, wanted you to win. I was down the ride to the very end. I did all I could to make it work, even though I was never put first. It really blows my mind, you'll never know how bad it hurts. It amazes me that you wanna go so far till the times get hard, boy, you ain't playing me. Got all the answers now when you get so smart. Those words ain't fazing me. And to think you're blaming me, I'm sending a message, some call it reckless in case you're checking. You can find me somewhere being selfish, selfish. Make no apologies for choosing me. You can find me somewhere being selfish, selfish. I'm in a better place, cause I found a better way. Right now I'm number one, I won't come second to none. I show myself the best love, I show myself the best love. If it can be so wrong, then why do I feel so strong? Now that you are so far gone, I'll be over here just being selfish, selfish. Make no apologies for you're choosing. You can find me somewhere being selfish. Selfish. I'm in a better place, 'cause I found a better way.
So this week, I'm calling this takeaway perspectives, because that is what I think the indie wave is to a lot of people. For one person, the indie wave is a chance to relive their hope of being a rock star. And for the first time in history, they can do it by virtue of streaming services and YouTube. For another, it's a chance to return from the throes of ADHD to a career in journalism that was robbed from him by a careless teacher back in the early days of his lifetime. While for others, like August Rayne, it's a pathway to the stars that has been envisioned in so many different ways in the last 150 years through the greats of the ages of the past, but is now a way to find stardom without the heavy hand of the commercial music industry. We all have different perspectives on what the indie wave will mean to each of us, but it is coming for us all just the same. The indie wave will wash over the modern era and wash away the edifices of the past, like those fat cat music and movie execs that used to take advantage of young men and women like August Rayne back in the day. It will make anew a democratic industry of art and music, storytelling and news that will inform and educate, entertain and enlighten in ways we have not even envisioned yet. But the wave builds just the same. And it is with this great respect I have for all of my guests that I chronicle their stories while they are just starting to ride this wave into the future, and share with you a breed of artists whom you would otherwise never have heard from or know about, if not for this podcast and the good folks over at Glacer FM. Thank you for listening to this show, and thank you for tuning in each week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and get notified each and every time we have another story for you to hear. And share this podcast with every one of your friends who care about new music that isn't spoon-fed through the lens of the commercial media execs. We'll see you next time on the Indie Wave Podcast. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I'm wet.